This is the Husqvarna 410iQ Automower, and my lawn has looked freshly cut every single day without me pushing a handle or pulling a cord. The biggest win is that it quietly gets the work done while I am doing anything else. This is a fully autonomous robotic lawn mower for people who want a consistent, clean yard without weekly chores. It makes the most sense for homeowners who like the idea of wire-free boundaries, who are comfortable using a phone application for setup, and whose lawns are around 1/2 acre or smaller with a fairly open view of the sky. If you enjoy tinkering, you will love how much control you get. If you do not want to tinker, it can still be a set-it-and-forget-it tool once you get the first afternoon of setup out of the way. The design is a big part of why it works. It has a sturdy, slightly industrial look with a broad front bumper that is there for more than style. That bumper meets toys, planters, and edges gently. Then the mower changes direction without drama. The wheels are large with deep tread, and they matter on slopes and transitions. My yard has a short paved walkway, a strip of gravel, and a couple of uneven spots by the garden beds. The wheels step over those changes without spinning or digging, and they do it in the rain as well as in dry conditions. It weighs about 59 pounds, which makes it feel planted on slopes and less likely to wander off course in ruts. On top there is a color screen and a simple control wheel. I use the phone application most of the time, but on the days my phone is inside, that screen and wheel let me check status, adjust cutting height, or send it home without hunting through menus. The housing is tough and wipes down easily. I rinse grass clippings off with a garden hose and the finish still looks new. Setup took real time and patience. Out of the box, you get the mower, the charging base, and a small reference station that lives in your yard. That station is the brain that keeps the mower precisely located using satellite positioning. Husqvarna calls their system Exact Positioning Operating System, and it is basically a very precise form of global positioning system guidance. I mounted the reference station on a post with a clear view of the sky and ran power to it. The Husqvarna Connect application walked me through pairing everything. Then I climbed into the mapping mode and manually drove the mower along the outer edge of my lawn using the phone as a remote. I traced around garden beds, edged the play area, and drew a narrow corridor across the gravel so it could cross safely. I added a couple of stay-out zones for a patch of wildflowers and for the kids' sandbox. The first pass was not perfect. Along one mulch bed, I noticed the mower nudged over the virtual line by a few inches, which was enough to kick bark out onto the grass. I opened the map, pulled that edge inward, and tested again. That became my pattern for an hour or two. Mark, test, tweak. Once the boundaries were right, daily use became simple. After the mapping is done, the mower leaves the charging base on the schedule I set and heads straight to work. The cutting height moves from about 1 inch up to around 4 inches with small increments in between, and the change is instant from the application or the top wheel. I like a taller cut in summer to keep moisture in the soil, so I leave it around 3 inches most days and drop it a little shorter for a weekend refresh. The sound is a soft hum. I can run it at dawn without waking anyone, and I cannot hear it from inside the house unless the windows are open. The blades are small, tucked well under the chassis, and the safety behavior is smart. If I lift it, the blades stop and I get an alert in the application. If it gets picked up and moved away, there is an anti-theft alarm, and the application gives me its location. That extra peace of mind matters when a piece of gear lives outside. Performance has been better than I expected from an autonomous mower. It does not lay down those long stripes the way a traditional walk-behind does. It moves in a varied pattern that avoids tracks and rutting, and the lawn looks evenly fresh every day. I worried about slopes and transitions, but the traction is strong. Husqvarna claims it can handle up to 45-degree slopes. I do not have anything that steep, but I have a few grades that make a regular push mower huff, and this rolls them without spinning. The bumper and wheels feel tough enough for repeated hits against pavers, and I have not seen scuffs or cracks. The gravel crossing was my biggest concern, and it has not been a problem. I marked a narrow corridor where I know the stones are compacted, and it follows that path without sinking. When it meets a toy or a stray branch, it taps, backs up, and carries on. I have left a couple of dog toys out by mistake, and it never chewed them or tried to ride over them. Real-world quirks show up, and they are the kind of things you only notice after living with it. Under a heavy canopy of trees at the far corner of my yard, I saw a little location drift on one particularly cloudy afternoon. It was not a big deal, but it nudged toward a flower bed and made me nervous. I fixed it by widening the stay-out zone by a few inches in that corner, and since then, it has been well behaved. Very wet grass slows it down a touch, which is a trade-off I will take because it means the wheels are not tearing up the lawn. On late summer evenings, clippings stick to the underside more, so I do a quick rinse twice a week. Blades are easy to swap. I change them every few weeks with a screwdriver. The application tells me when there is a software update and installs it while the mower is charging, which has added small improvements like quicker map edits and better obstacle behavior. Here is what a typical week looks like for me. I set a schedule so it leaves the base just before sunrise on weekdays and again mid-morning on Saturday. I wake up to a yard that looks like it was just cut, without stepping outside. If the kids want to play in the backyard after school, I tap pause in the application, and it heads back to the base. I set a stay-out zone around their play set, so it never rolls under slides or tries to squeeze into tight places. When we hosted a barbecue, I bumped the cut a notch shorter that morning and it made the whole space feel crisp. When I changed the shape of a flower bed, I opened the map, adjusted the line with my finger, saved it, and the next run followed the new edge perfectly. No wire in the ground, no digging up borders. That wire-free approach is what I appreciate most on weeks when I rearrange things. There are a few thoughtful touches that end up mattering. The color screen and control wheel on top sound trivial until you need them. If my phone battery is dead, I can still send it out, send it home, or set the cut height without digging for a charger. The anti-theft alert and live location in the application made me more comfortable leaving it in view. The way the charging base lines up the mower is very forgiving. It does not hunt or miss often, it just glides in and starts charging. Integration with Amazon Alexa and Google Home is handy. I rarely use voice for something like this, but I have asked my speaker to park the mower while carrying groceries, and it obeyed like a respectful little helper. It is a small quality of life thing that adds up. Now for balance. Setup is not something you do on your lunch break. Plan an afternoon. Expect to walk your boundaries, test and nudge lines. The reference station needs power and a clear view of the sky. If your yard is surrounded by tall trees or has tight canyons between buildings and hedges, precision can vary a little. It is still good, but the more sky it can see, the better. The mower is heavy, which is great for stability but annoying if you need to carry it up steps. If your property is much larger than 1/2 acre, you will want to think about zones or a different model. Those are not deal breakers for me, but they are worth knowing before you commit. When I sum up my time with the Husqvarna 410iQ Automower, the story is simple. My lawn stays consistently neat. I spend almost no time pushing a mower. I do a little boundary maintenance in the application when I move things around. I rinse the underside occasionally, and I change blades every few weeks. The rest happens without me. If you want a reliable, modern approach to lawn care, have a yard that gives the satellite system a fair view of the sky, and you are willing to put in that first afternoon of setup, this is a very solid fit. If you want stripes or love the ritual of mowing, this will not replace that feeling. For me, it replaced a chore with peace and quiet, and that is exactly what I hoped for when I switched to a robotic mower. Please check the comments section for detailed information about the Husqvarna 410iQ Automower. Thank you for watching.